Professor. We're now 18 days since the Hamas attacks, and still there's been no ground offensive, has there? Why do you think it's taken this long?
Well, I think there are a number of issues that are really determining the time frame here. The first, of course, is the preparations of the Israeli army. There is a large offensive afoot, and that takes a long time to prepare. The second thing, of course, is the tragic hostage issue. There seems to be an international effort to try and free as many hostages as possible. And I think the Americans have made it clear to the Israelis that they want the Israelis to allow that effort to really materialize as much as possible. And then the third issue is that there are attempts by the Israelis, the Americans, the Palestinians, and the Egyptians to try and create some sort of humanitarian zone, humanitarian safe zone south of Gaza City. And that is another thing that is, if you like, impacting the time frame when the ground offensive will begin.
Yeah, because of course, just to pick up on one of those 3 points, the issue of the hostages. I mean, in a way, Hamas is in control, isn't it, of the timeline, of the timetable here? Because if they carry on releasing a couple of hostages every day or every few days, that could go on for a very long period of time indeed, given that there were, at one point, 222 hostages known to be in Gaza.
Well, I think they're in control to a point. The domestic really demand in Israel to, if you like, dislodge the security threat that the Israelis perceive Hamas to be, which of course was illustrated in the murderous attacks that took place on the 7th of October, is unrelenting. And I think there is a time limit on the ability of the Israeli government to actually adjust its schedule to the time frame that Hamas will choose, in which Hamas will choose to release hostages. So I think Hamas has perhaps the capacity to delay, but not use the fact that it has over 200 hostages to completely deny Israel from carrying forward its ground offensive into the Gaza Strip.
I mean, here on France 24, and I think lots of news channels, we've talked all year about bitter political divisions in Israel. I'm just wondering whether those same divisions exist with regards, well, in Israeli society, with regards to how best to proceed in this with a potential ground operation.
My impression is that they don't. The impact of the massacre of over 1,300 Israelis has been so profound on Israeli society that we've seen a real, I would say, unification effect. And I think the social divisions that really beleaguered the country for almost a year have now really almost are not seen on the surface. As for the political divisions, I think they have been put on hold for the moment. I think the day of reckoning with Prime Minister Netanyahu and his close allies, the key ministers, will arrive. But at this point, it is put on pause. And it seems to me that Israelis are united at the moment behind the IDF. And the expectation is that the IDF will carry out a successful ground offensive and dislodge the security threat posed by Hamas. And this seems to me at the moment a consensus of widespread consensus in Israeli society and the political top brass.
I mean, there have been concerns, haven't there, that proceeding with a ground invasion would have the result of drawing in other players. And that's certainly been the threat that's been made by Iran's proxy in Lebanon, by Hezbollah. I'm just wondering how seriously you think Israel and its allies take that threat.
Well, I think they're taking it at the utmost seriousness that they can. And this is really the main explanation for why the United States has deployed a massive amount of force, unprecedentedly really in the last decade, in the Eastern Mediterranean and of course in the Red Sea. Only 2-3 days ago, US warship intercepted 19 missiles and drones that were headed north across the Red Sea, potentially towards Israel. So Israel and its allies are taking the potential threat by Hezbollah and by its patron Iran to intervene in the conflict very, very seriously. And this is actually the key aim that the Americans are trying to achieve, namely to keep Hezbollah and Iran contained during this conflict. And this is why they have deployed this vast military force in the Eastern Mediterranean and the Red Sea.
Okay, well, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Professor Amnon Aron, Professor of International Politics of the Middle East at City, University of London. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.